Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time coming across our content, hit the subscribe button right away and get yourself subscribed, and hit the notification bell because there are a lot of more videos coming up to help you in your DevOps on your cloud computing journey. And equally, if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming across our channel. Thank you so much for being there. Equally, there's the link to my DevOps community in the chat where you can join the community and have access to some resources which I share to make your journey smooth. So another very common DevOps question they'll ask is your experience with containerization and microservice applications. You can't go for a DevOps interview and you are not asked about containerization or microservice application. And as far as containerization is concerned, you want to mention your experience with Docker. Docker is the key technology which you can mention on how you've been able to leverage Docker for the creation of resources. You want to watch our video on Docker to see how you can completely Dockerize a particular application. Now, that is the main reason why we when answering the question of your experience with microservice or your experience with Docker, you're bringing out the usage of Docker in your environment to perform the process of containerizing an application, maybe writing a Docker file, specifying some commands in your Docker file, run, build, or all the various Docker commands which you have, and then also mentioning your experience on Kubernetes for microservices, of course, for microservice or for orchestration of the container creation and container deletion process. So when mentioning Kubernetes, you want to talk high level on Kubernetes architecture, maybe mentioning Kubernetes nodes, Kubernetes pods, Kubernetes deployment, and a lot on Kubernetes. Yeah, I also have a very special video on questions related to Kubernetes. You also want to watch another video on Kubernetes related questions. So you talking on Docker and Kubernetes brings out your experience with containerization and with microservice applications on the AWS cloud, or maybe bring out your experience with microservice and containerization applications as a DevOps engineer or as a site reliability engineer or any role you're applying for. Now, another question which can possibly be asked is how you collaborate with your teams, or how you've been collaborating your developers or your entire team to ensure smooth deployment of your application. And as far as collaboration is concerned, there are key technologies which you should mention. You've used Slack to notify developers on the current state of their code in the build stages of your project, right? So you mention Slack for communication, and equally you can mention the usage of Microsoft Teams, where your organization was doing a lot of communication with Microsoft Teams. And then equally you want to mention Jira for ticketing, for granting access to maybe respective tags. And equally you want to mention how you've written documentation or your own customized wiki for your company to keep track of the various activities which you perform in your role. The last question which could be possibly asked in a DevOps or in a site reliability interview is your experience with monitoring and logging technologies, or monitoring and troubleshooting technologies. And as far as monitoring and troubleshooting technologies are concerned, the very first thing which should come to the back of your mind is the usage of Prometheus and Grafana. And equally you want to talk about ELK for logging, or using Datadog or Splunk for logging as far as monitoring troubleshooting is concerned. And of course, if you're working on the AWS cloud, you also want to mention the usage of AWS CloudWatch to collect metrics around your environment, set alarms, and then equally using CloudTrail to monitor API calls in your environment. So you mentioning AWS CloudWatch, CloudTrail, Prometheus, and Grafana gives the recruiter the idea or the notion that you have a good experience with the usage of monitoring tools. And as far as Prometheus is concerned, you want to mention the usage of Prometheus to pull logs from your production servers, which were your Prometheus targets, and then you displaying those logs for your entire team using Grafana and dashboarding with Grafana. So those are some DevOps related questions which I feel like when going for your DevOps interview you should be able to go around those. And why not you having an idea on performing security in your environment, how to secure your entire environment using AWS or Azure or GCP or security related tools. And well, if you can answer some of these questions, you have the opportunity to nail that DevOps or cloud computing journey. Again, thank you for watching this video to the end. If you're not yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button right away, hit the notification bell for our next video that will help you in your cloud computing and in your DevOps journey.